So we started our pilot release in an SIT program in the Sunland, Tahunga area of the city of Los Angeles. If you look at our map here, we have our two treatment areas to the north, Alpine and Renaissance neighborhoods, and to the south we have the control areas. These are both, they're all in the same climate area. They have the same temperature, elevation, and or approximate elevation. And but more importantly, they're also kind of islands in themselves, where they don't get much migration from wild Egypti because they're separated by foothills. So our goal was to release 10-to-1 sterile males to wild males. So we partnered with the Mosquito Mate. They had maintained a colony for us, and they shipped us eggs, and so we reared those up. But anyway, so it amounted to about 600 sterile males per acre, really dependent on population. In 2023, we also worked with Mosquito Mate. We were rearing about 6 pans a week, about 12,000 mosquitoes a week. So we had to amp this up for our pilot releases. We did at the most, we did 30 pans a week, which amounts to 60,000 mosquitoes. All in all, we set out to rear 1.1 million mosquitoes, but we only released 603,000. And that smaller number is, we're going to talk about why that happened. So first off, we had a really low hatch rate kind of starting off. We wanted to kind of really understand why that was. So we went back to our partners at Mosquito Mate, asked them why, what are we doing wrong? What can we change? So they suggested that we start doing pre-feeding of our mosquitoes. So during the, we would use tap water. We'd let it off gas before we fill our pans. So we would drop some food in there so that the food was evenly distributed throughout the water. And when we pour those, we hatched our eggs. The larvae who hatched had a lot of food ready to feed on. We found that it didn't actually help our hatch rate, but it did improve synchrony. So more mosquitoes were pupating, or more larvae were pupating at the same time, which meant we had less waste after our sorting. Since it didn't help our hatch rate, we went back to Mosquito Mate and said, hey, what else can we do? And they said, well, let's look at your cleaning and sanitation procedures. Are you doing a bleach bath solution? Oh, no, we're not. So we started doing a bleach bath solution for 10 minutes in our pans to sanitize them. And we found actually from a previous hatch to our next hatch, it quite improved our hatch rate. But around this time, we started to experience a large larval mortality around the 3rd instar in our pans. It was pretty devastating. It wiped out a large percentage of our rearing colony, or our pans. We thought this might be a possible pesticide contamination because we have some shared spaces with our operations, maybe some pesticides getting tracked into our insectary. We also saw some mold growing in some corners of our humid insectary, so maybe it had something to do with that. So we tightened our biosafety controls. However, the larval mortality persisted. So we went back to Mosquito Mate, and like, oh man, we're still having this issue. What can we do? And they asked, well, what kind of bleach are you using? Well, we looked at the bottle and it said low splash bleach. We found out it contains glycerin, and I'm not really sure if the glycerin is toxic or if it was somehow holding over some sort of contaminant into our pans, but we decided to switch over to disinfecting bleach. And when we did this, we had some pans that had low splash bleach and some that had the disinfecting bleach. The ones with the low splash bleach, all those larvae had that high mortality. That's great. So we thought we found our problem for our hatch rate and our die-offs. So I wanted to go back and switch back some of those biosafety controls. One of the things we did is we stopped using tap water. We went to bottled water just to eliminate a possible route of contamination. So I wanted to go back because that was just a lot of waste. I wish I had a picture. Actually, we had like a mountain of gallon bottles. We just wanted to get rid of that. So switch back to our tap water. We had some pans with tap, some pans with bottled water. We found that the pans with tap water actually had a lower hatch rate, 64% compared to 87% with the bottled water. And after they reached that 3rd instar, we had large die-offs in our tap water. We're not really sure what happened to our tap water. We used it for our studies in 2003 and in the beginning of 2023 and 2024. I drink this stuff too, so I would really like to know what happened to our tap water. And our final challenge that we had was what I'm going to call like our no-fly rate, whatever it is, it's mortality, morbidity, recovery. If you look at the picture on the top, you can see the mosquitoes. Colt actually just ripped that lid off that release container. So those mosquitoes are flying out, climbing up that container. The majority of those mosquitoes flew out. Only about 3.7% stayed in that container. If you look at the bottom picture, you can see that pile of mosquitoes in the bottom of that container. And I just opened that and set that on the ground there for the mosquitoes to leave, but they ended up not leaving. In this picture, 44.9% of that release did not leave that container. And that was pretty much the trend, since August or late July, where half the mosquitoes just didn't leave their containers. So some results, some progress. Despite we set out to release 1.1 million mosquitoes, and we got about 53% of that, we still did see suppression. So if you look, these are Aedes aegypti per trap night, 3 graphs here, one representing alpine, renaissance, and our control area. If you look at the renaissance on the bottom, you can see that we just started collecting data in 2023, August of 23, and in alpine, we started in 2022. If you look at the alpine graph, you see that nice seasonal abundance, and then we started in 24 with releases in May, and you don't get that amplification. So in fact, we did see suppression, and we found it to be statistically significant. That's it for me. I want to make sure to thank our partners at Mosquito Mate and Orange County, and especially everyone in our lab. It really took everyone to do this. Everyone had some role each week to get it done, and we couldn't have done it with each one of you. Thank you. Thank you.